gold card. We're going to be putting a price on that card of about $5 million.
Percentage of global population with a net worth of $5 million, 0.1%.
And we'll be able to sell maybe 1 million of these cards, maybe more than that.
It's not realistic.
Well, 1 million cards would be worth $5 trillion. $5 trillion.
Wow. And the answer? 0.00.
10 million of the cards. That's a total of $50 trillion.
Not even a fraction of a fraction of a fraction. So the US government is about $40 trillion under in foreign debts. And in the midst of this economic chaos, the President Donald Trump, or better still, his administration, has come up with an idea which they hope will be able to raise enough funds to enable the government pay off the debts. And so what's this golden idea? Basically, the Trump administration is unveiling a new visa program, which would guarantee anyone a pathway to US citizenship with an investment or donation of $5 million. Now, this is not quite a new idea, as it's been around, and so many countries all around the world are involved in such programs where foreign individuals can get citizenship by simply investing in these countries. It's called, for the most part, citizenship by investment, or in some other cases, citizenship by donations. And even the US already has such a program and has had such a program for quite a while. And so the only major difference right now is at the level of the prices involved, because the current similar program in the US, which offers the EB-5 visa, only demands an investment amount of about $800,000 to $1 million, whereas the new program would require about $5 million, as we already mentioned. And even when you put that in comparison with other countries, you see a stark difference, because for the most part, donations in other countries range from between $100,000 to $1 million. And so, the program in itself is good. It is a good idea, except that it's not realistic. And by not being realistic, I mean the expectations the Trump administration has on the program, or on the gold cards as they call them. Because you had President Trump in a press conference saying that if they could sell 1 million of those cards, that would amount to $5 trillion, which is true. And if they could sell 10 million copies, that would amount to $50 trillion, which is true again. Because you multiply 5 million by 10 million, it gives you $50 trillion, and that will be enough to pay off America's debt and even leave some change.
We're going to be doing something else that's going to be very, very good. We're going to be selling a gold card. You have a green card. This is a gold card. We're going to be putting a price on that card of about $5 million, and that's going to give you green card privileges plus. It's going to be a route to citizenship.
We're going to end the EB-5 program. We're going to replace it with the Trump Gold Card, which is really a green card gold, so they'll be able to pay $5 million to the U.S. government. We can use that money to reduce our deficit.
And we'll be able to sell maybe 1 million of these cards, maybe more than that. And if you add up the numbers, they're pretty good. As an example, 1 million cards would be worth $5 trillion. $5 trillion.
Wow.
And if you sell 10 million of the cards, that's a total of $50 trillion. Well, we have 35 trillion in debt. That'd be nice. So we'll see. If you did 10 million, you'd have $15 trillion left over. But generally, it's going to be paid down debt. Yes.
Anyways, the reason for this video is to prove that not even a fraction of the expectations are realistic. In other words, the administration wouldn't be able to sell beyond a few thousands of those cards. And I'm going to be proving that to you by way of very, very basic Google searches. So right here in front of me are very basic researches I did to make my point. So right now, let's find out how many people around the world would actually be capable of acquiring a $5 million gold card. And so please just follow me. And this is not rocket science. Everything I say, every information I pass is only a few clicks away from you, because you could go to Google, and you would confirm everything I'm saying within seconds. And so let's go. So first, percentage of global population with a net worth of $1 million. And the result, 1.5% of global population have a net worth of $1 million. And that amounts to about 120 million people. Good and fine. But remember, the price of a gold card is $5 million. And so next search is percentage of global population with a net worth of $5 million. And it brings us to 0.1%. And 0.1% of 8 billion people gives you 8 million people. So 0.1% of global population have a net worth of $5 million and above. And that accounts to 8 million people all around the world. Stay with me, stay with me. You must have realized I use the word net worth because Google doesn't tell you this person is worth this amount of money. Google tells you this person has got this amount of net worth. And someone's net worth, of course, represents the monetary value of everything they possess. It could be houses and cars and whatever. But we all know you cannot buy a gold card with a house you own. No, you need to do that with cash, right? So I went on to search what percentage of people's net worth averagely is held in cash. And the answer is 15%. So 15% of people's net worth is held in cash. And so the next logical thing to do would be to establish what amount of net worth would someone possess in order to have a 15% of that amount of that net worth amounting to $5 million in cash. And that brings us up to $34 million. So in less convoluted terms, in order for someone to possess $5 million in cash, they would need a net worth of somewhere around $35 million. And this would put any such person in a very, very rare category, as they are considered the ultra high net worth individuals. And the definition of that is anyone with a net worth of $30 million and above. And so the next thing we search for is what percentage of global population possess a net worth of about $35 million? And the answer, 0.003%, amounting to 240,000 people all around the world. 240,000 people all around the world. Now, next thing, what percentage of these people already live in America? And a quick Google search tells you 1/3 of these people already live in America. And so that leaves us barely with 2/3 of that number as potential buyers of that card. And 2/3 of that number is 160,000. Meaning right now we are left with just about 160,000 people all around the world who would be capable of purchasing that card. Now, of the 160,000 people, what percentage of them would be willing to buy this card, to acquire this card, to go in for this gold card? At this point, you start asking yourself the question, what is America offering that other countries are not offering? What is America offering that these people wouldn't find in other places? Besides, the average age of an ultra-high net worth individual is 64 years, whereas the average age of people willing to migrate to other countries is between the ages of 20 and 35. What percentage of these people will really want to move to the States? I think we are left with a very, very, very teeny tiny pocket of people who may want to make that move, who may want to go in for the card. But anyways, let's be generous and say 5% of these people decide to go in for the card. All right. Now, 5% of 160,000 people amounts to 8,000 people. You multiply that by 5 millions and you get 40 billions. Admittedly, it's a good amount of money, but not for paying off the foreign debt. No, it doesn't do that. Not by any stretch of the imagination. It doesn't do that. Because $40 billion is not 10% of 40 trillions. It's not even 1% of 40 trillions. It's 0.1%. It's 0.1%. It doesn't remedy the situation. No. And when I see things like this, I immediately think of Trump's advisors, because you get to understand that Trump doesn't understand the world financially like most people do. You see, Trump was born into wealth. He was born with a golden spoon. Same as his current best buddy Elon, who went to school in a Rolls Royce. These people were born into immense wealth, and they just do not understand people's financial situations around the world. In fact, they're incapable of understanding, because they were born into a circle, and all their lives they had to mingle with people of that echelon of life. And so they tend to misjudge a lot of things, especially around money. I believe Trump considers $1 million like most of us consider $10,000, because of how he was raised. And it's no fault of his own. His advisors have got to do a better job, because as far as this gold card thing is concerned, we can clearly see that not every idea that glitters is gold.